he doesn't want to feel too lonely on the stage here, so I bring the whole team to join in. Let me start from the one who will moderate this session. Of course, is the host of Big Brother Nigeria, lawyer, broadcaster, writer, fashion icon, sweet baby boy. Ladies and gentlemen, photographer, journalist, actor, compare, fashion icon, Toby Bakri. You've not heard that there's issue on ground already. You know, we are still on whether it is team CP or team Tolex. You want to have team T words again. You don't care. Toby, that's another team. Team To, I don't care. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. John.
My own beat here is, I think, what, 6, 7 slides quickly, and then we let the real Big Brother people take. Yeah. Better? Yeah, I think this is much better. Okay, so we thought about showing or saying something about BB Naija, and then we thought otherwise, and thankfully Placard had just done some research. So what I'll show from the few slides we have is not really what we think about BB Naija, it's really what came out of the research, what people think about BB Naija. But we thought, I think Ayeni spoke earlier about this turning into a talk shop. So we wanted to be a bit more interactive and take questions and actually have a proper discussion. So first thing, this didn't come from the research, but if you want to be in a show that when the show is over, your fans will buy a car for you, guys, get on BB Naija. It's the only show that when you leave, your fans will actually buy a car for you. Toby's birthday is coming up soon. So backstage, he was really talking and hoping his own fans come through. So you were really screaming for Toby, get your money ready. Eh? It's the car buying season. So let's see if we can get, I'm sure someone will have to help me. Okay, so I don't know if you can make that screen a bit smaller or if it will be full size because it's cutting off quite a few of the things. So, and I don't have a signal on this screen facing me. Anyway, so I think when we do BB Naija, we never think of it as a talent show. I mean, for us, all we have to do is get, on the average, 20 people into a house. During the audition process, we are really not looking for any talent. However, from the research, I think majority, 60% of the people actually believe it's a talent show. So we thought we put that number up, but we say really during the auditions, I mean, you don't know how to play the guitar, nobody cares. It's really just about being yourself. So I think it's just a coincidence that we end up with a lot of talent on the show, and we also, have a lot of, people coming out and going or remaining in the entertainment industry. 70% of viewers love BB Naija for its strong entertainment credentials. But I think the interesting part is 6% believe it's very educative. So don't laugh, people actually learn quite a bit from BB Naija. And I've always championed that, there's a lot to learn from the show. When I'm having the big fights, when people try to rubbish the show. And I think 20% So I think there's going to be a copy of this at the end because I think it's stripping off quite a bit of it. I'll try and find the most intriguing things. So I'm sure this one there'll be quite a few tweets about this. This is the surest path to success. 53% of the people believe it's the surest path, and that's against the 2% who opted for Yahoo Yahoo. So we haven't announced the prize money this year, but I think when we do, I think it'll be very obvious that it's probably better than Yahoo. I mean, look at Toby. I don't think he looks like he does any Yahoo Yahoo, but and he didn't even win. So you can imagine how loaded they come out of the show. So I think there was a question around the viewers. So 67, or that's practically 68% are female. I don't know if that's why Bisola seemed to be the favorite housemate. And what we did was they just ran the housemates over the seasons. I think Ebuka was a bit disadvantaged. You know, his own season is very old. So people really forget Ebuka was in the house too. I think it's only those of us who are gray who remember how much alcohol Ebuka confessed. We didn't host BB Naija for a long time, and I think it really was because of people like Ebuka. I think the amount of we actually ration alcohol these days. We stop them from drinking because of the experience we had with these guys. Our sponsors almost pulled out from giving us free drinks for them. But I think, yeah, someone just mentioned I wouldn't mention the brand, but I think he was quite a big ambassador for that brand when he left. And I think the important thing is people actually love the housemates, and I think for us that's, really important. 75% of bloggers would actually leave their blogging and take a slot in the BB Naija house. So really, really interesting. 61% of the general public will rather go into the house. And I think we've actually kind of, thought about it internally too. It's probably better for some of us to be in the house than work for multi-choice. It's, I mean, if we look at the amount of followers they end up with. I think, so we asked what was the most interesting part. I think about 33% found the eviction live shows more interesting. So that's, but doesn't that say we like pain? I mean, it's when we're sending people away. That's what people love the most. And 90% believe it's great economic value, and I really have to agree with that 90%, because not just for the housemates, but the crew. I mean, it's a very, very big crew. I think that's one of the things we never really show. It's a 24/7 show. The amount of redundancies in equipment, in people that it takes to actually run a show 24/7. And even the games, having to build those props overnight. So interesting that greater than 30% said they found sex and nudity among the housemates quite offensive. Toby. And I think 11% enjoy the celebrity visits the most. So maybe a bit more of that. So we try to look at the impact on youth culture. I think 50%, really, really interesting. Half the people that audition believe that they will find love in the house. Wow. So I'll refer to Ebuka and Toby there again. You can see where the problems do come from. And I think 64% say that it impacts on youth culture. And I think that's really important. I think if you look at our music, you look at everything around young people. So it's just really a reflection of who we are. Overnight startup. So I mean, we've talked about it. The major thing around Big Brother Naija is you can walk in there literally with 1,000 Instagram followers and walk out with a whole army behind you. You really don't have to win to be successful. You know, we always get this big question when we launch the new season. What's the second prize, or what's the thought, what's the consolation prize? And we always say, guys, I don't know, anybody that goes in there just to try to win actually loses it, because really that prize, which is massive, if you look at 1 year later, you actually can make a lot more than that. So you don't have to win, and I think you just have to be yourself. So Ebuka didn't see this beat, but we had to put up something on him here. And I think the first thing is very important. Ebuka was eighth. So I think that tells you. But we thought we should do a little case study with Ebuka. Following, as I said, when this was done, and this is like a few months old, was about 2.5 million across, social media. And I mean, we all know Ebuka is a TV star, on-air personality, and brand ambassador, influencer. And it just gives you an idea of what you can do. Ebuka, nice picture and outfit. So I think, I'll just read maybe one quote from The Punch, which Ebuka has completely shattered the TV presenter mode. Viewers look for this Ebuka wears on this show, so we're really thinking about cutting it. So just, an idea of, and what we did here was just to try to look at some of the brands and, the people working with the ex-housemates. So one of the things we hear from some housemates, I have to keep my professional image. And we always ask, what are you doing in the BB Naija house if you're trying to keep your professional image? But as we've seen, you don't need a professional image to engage the brands. So as we always do, encourage the housemates to just be themselves. Whatever you need to do or you want to do, just be yourself. I think that's the way you engage with everyone. So lots of brands there working with our ex-housemates and, lots of following on social media. This is just a bit of ranking on social media. I think what it just says is, you're guaranteed to have the followers across social media. You have to get into the house. You don't have to win. Just get in, be yourself, and get kicked out. So I think, it's a massive ecosystem. It's going to grow. We are looking forward, to that new season. Very important, I think, not once, not twice, BB Naija was the highest trending topic globally on Twitter, not in the Nigeria Twitter, no, globally. And I think twice we went head to head with Beyonce, she had, and the Grammys, and on each time, BB Naija went #1. So it just says how strong globally, not just in Nigeria, the show is. So I think that's just a snapshot. It's quite a big report that I think the guys are going to share with everyone. And I thought to put that out before Ebuka takes over and does the nicer part. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. I know you were joking about the cutting of pay. Let's not take it too seriously. I'm going to ask just a couple of questions before I throw it to the audience. Voting numbers, things around those issues. How do you walk around these things? How do they work? I know you're not supposed to reveal a lot of these things in detail, but how do they work? And how do people better understand that this show is pretty much, I tell everybody, the most credible process I've ever been a part of in my entire life. How do you get that message across more?
I think,
yeah,
we need the mic. It's probably off. Okay. That's done, right? Yeah. No, I think, you know, I think that's the beauty of Big Brother. You know, because we are all so passionate about it. So if you feel so passionate about someone and he doesn't win, I think the first thing that pops to your mind is, oh, they must have cheated that housemate out. But I think for us, it's, you know, as an organization, it's really important to us. You've been part of hosting the show, and that's why we actually involve external auditors. People talk about scripting the show, and maybe if 2 people are evicted this week, maybe it's 3 next week. The interesting thing is all this is actually predetermined before the show starts. So we don't even have the power to change it. And as soon as it's locked down, it's actually handed to our external auditors. So they have to make sure that we keep in line with the design of the show. So even if we woke up midway in the show and wanted to change anything, they'll probably just wave us off, because that's what we pay them to do. And the same way they audit our accounts, the same way they audit a lot of things around our processes, we subject the show to the same process. And that's why you don't see some of us. I mean, we have to work behind. That's our job in the offices, to make sure that these things run properly. And it has to be very, very credible. Yeah. You know,
I think I'm the owner of this show for some reason, and I got abused
from the way you dress, I'm sure.
I got abused a lot when I think it was Bam Bam who got evicted on a Saturday, and I remember saying that when the show was starting in January, we knew a housemate was going to be evicted on the eve of April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
As early as January, we knew that was going to happen, but we didn't know who it was going to be. And so these are things that are set in stone even before the show starts. But let me come to you now, Wangi. Why is Big Brother Naija so successful? The format is not new, per se. I mean, we've had several versions: Africa, Angola, South Africa. What is it about Big Brother Naija that's made it resonate so much with people, even non-Nigerians?
Thank you, Ebuka. So, from my point of view, first of all, it's a reality show, so people, and this is generic to all reality shows, people like to see themselves, and they see themselves reflected on TV, and then they kind of engage with it. But I think beyond that, uniquely for Big Brother Nigeria keys into the psyche of the average Nigerian. And it's not just, it's across, right? A lot of youth, well, I think in the presentations before, we've seen that there are more youths anyway as a population. But because there are things around the psychology of the average Nigerian and our ethos, optimism, the future will be brighter, my condition is not permanent, those are things that we all feed off, whether you're rich, you're poor, you're young, you're old. And Big Brother encapsulates all that, right, and gives you that. So whilst watching, you're rooting for the person that you're following to actually achieve that Nigerian dream. You're also knowing that it means that it's possible for you, me, watching as a viewer at home. So I think that's like the basic ingredient, and I dare say that Big Brother Nigeria is one of the most successful Big Brother formats because of it's very real, it's locally relevant, we don't make it like any other Big Brother in the world, we don't copy any other formats, we do it locally, we create, that's what we do at MultiChoice. We ensure that local content is authentic, it's Nigerian, and it keys in. So that's the real reason. It connects, and it connects at a very high level across age groups.
Okay. Leading off from, talking about local relevance and all of that, and also talking about credibility now, let me come to you, Busola. I want to talk about the themes for the show, because even I am really fascinated by that. We've had Sigobe, then we had Double Wahala. How does that work? How do you come up with these themes? And does that happen? Do you choose a theme, then pick the housemates to match that, or do you pick housemates and you're like, okay, this is what we're looking for? How does that work? I know you don't want to reveal too much, but just give us an insight.
Okay, so I'll skirt around it, but I'll kind of answer your question. As John mentioned, the CEO mentioned, it's a lot of hard work goes behind the scenes with Big Brother, from the production, the creative process for the show. And so we do pick a theme from the onset. So we know what direction we want to go with the show. However, for the selection, we usually go with what we find. So it depends on the character and the characteristics of the housemates we see. And so we kind of fit it into the theme, but really it's what we find. It's the housemates we find that go into the show. So again, as has been mentioned, there's no right or wrong way. And so we find people come in for the auditions and they want to behave a certain way just because they think that's what Big Brother is looking for. But really, we just want people to be themselves.
How do you know, though? Because I know being yourself is a very good thing, but how do you identify that? How long is this process of trying to figure out if this person is themselves?
So the audition process is a very long-winded one. What the viewers see is the 2-day open auditions where everyone comes in and we pick, and do the selections. But back end, it takes another. We're still in selection, actually, as we speak. So it's a really, really rigorous process. We work with psychologists, medicals. We, really, really go into detail to be sure that we have the house right lit. We create a safe environment for everyone who's going to go into the house. And really, at the end of the day, we're all watching for good content.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you about expectations versus reality now. Because a lot of people want to be on the show because they see you guys now and how your life seems very glossy and you're making a lot of money. What did you expect going on to the show and what has it been since you've been out?
Okay, pretty much I went in to kind of change my career path. So what I hoped for was to win the money. That was the first goal. And then I knew pretty much after that all the other opportunities will come up because at that point I had not critically followed the previous seasons, but I know like there are a lot of nice success stories from previous episodes, and these people are not doing badly in the society. They are knowledgeable and they are like good examples. So I'm like, okay, even if I don't get to win, I can still win in some other way. So getting on the show and now being out, it's pretty much obvious that once you get on the show, you are already a winner. Because it doesn't matter if you spend 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If you're able to sell yourself, if you go in with a plan, that's all you need pretty much. When you come out, there's going to be job opportunities or a few other opportunities waiting for you. So pretty much it exceeded my expectation because I went into the house with 25,000 in following, and I came out of the house with about 300 and a whole lot of opportunities. Like the platform and every single thing I wanted to try, there were like people ready to try me. Like, okay, Toby, you want to act? Okay, let's try you. Okay, you want to sing? Let's try you. So like we get that audience or that acceptability in the society generally. So, and me, I'm in showbiz, and it's not limited to showbiz alone. Miracle has gone on to be a pilot, and he's gone on to do more in his own society. So like it gives you a huge platform to really do anything you plan to do. So yes, it exceeded my expectation, like way beyond my expectation.
All right, we're going to take questions from the audience. I know we have a lot of questions. Please stick to asking a question. No long-winded comments. And auditions are closed, so you cannot ask if you can get into the house. I have a question at the back there.
From Big Brother Naija.
No, but I think first I want Ayeni to answer what his revenue is from this event. and after that, the same lady will tell us how much her monthly salary is. No, I think, one, it's not our CSI, so we're not doing it, it's not, so we have Go TV Boxing, which we do not for profit, and it's very big, and we hold, we had one in Ibadan last week. We don't expect to earn anything from it. We're doing it to develop boxing, develop sports. But that's not Big Brother. Big Brother for us is business. So one, you really don't expect me to tell you how much. It's like stopping the woman who sells groundnut to you on the street. Because you love her groundnut, you ask her, how much do you make from groundnut every month? I'm sure she'll tell you, well, that's not your problem. You want to buy a bottle of groundnut. So we need to put engaging content on TV. We want people to watch TV because that's our business. Our business is TV, is selling subscriptions coming out of television. Same way we have a pop-up comedy channel right now, which is a 2-week pop-up comedy channel. We put it up because we want people to have a big smile on their face and watch TV. So we do it to create engaging content for TV. It's probably one of the most expensive formats in the world. That's the beat nobody sees. Like I mentioned, I mean, feeding Ebuka for 3 months and then just paying for his drinks alone is quite a bit.
Okay, let's come to you here.
Good afternoon. My name is National Vice President. I want to first of all thank you and the organizers for this beautiful event. But DSTV and Big Brother Nigeria, how much do you think you have affected Nigerians' pop culture? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, if I'm going to weigh in on that. First of all, I think the show reflects what's going on in the society. And the content creators are actively trying to pass a lot of messages. I think even from the selection stages up until the show stages, there's a lot of ingredients they put in for us to show up, like show a better Nigeria, show our values in Nigeria, show what we do exactly in Nigeria. So like it's a show that fits up the content of the society and then showcases it to the world. So I think it's pretty much around that. So we're a reflection of the society positively.
Yeah, I think what you also see during each season, I mean, for instance, if it falls when we have the Malaria Day, we tend to put a lot of information through, Big Brother out there. At times it's about the environment, it's recycling, we had the World Earth Day recently. If Big Brother was on, there will be something about it. So subtly, we do send out messages. But really, like we say, it's just a reflection. It's the people. So the only bit we script is the task around malaria they will do, and we'll try to get awareness around that and put it out, through the housemates. The rest of it, the guys cook whatever they want. So if you find them just eating noodles morning, noon, and night, just know that that's what's happening around the country. People are eating noodles because they have the option. They have the full store. They just have to go and cook.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ebu Awoshika. I'm a huge fan of Big Brother. I'm actually one of those people whose family members think should go and consult a psychiatrist.
Who did you vote for the last time?
I'll keep that to myself. I'm actually a BAM Teddy person, so I'm very happy for them. So my question is to do with trolling and cyberbullying and all that. I find that in watching the show most of the time, you see a lot of very horrible comments being scrolled while the show is going on. And I always wonder to myself, do you not have a team of people that vet the messages? Because sometimes you find that this message actually tilts the opinion of people towards a particular housemate. And then some of the messages are really very, very bad. So I wonder why an organization like yours would just ignore such, or even broadcast such messages. Thank you.
Hi. So that's a really valid sentiment, but again, I think let's look at the context, right? It's a reality show, and there are a lot of things out there that are said good and bad. In terms of vetting, we actually do, check the content for certain things around a protocol, but we can't take out everything because that's not reality, right? So we do vet to the extent that if it's highly offensive or has regulatory implications, and we are compliant as a responsible company. But at the same time, it's a reality show. There are opinions either way, and we must reflect that in everything we do. So the same voice is you asking why we don't do this. Another voice will be like, but then you're not giving us the real information out there. But I think and I think even Toby will say there are trolls, people who have negative, but there's a lot of positive, a lot of fans, a lot of comments that actually encourage the contestants themselves even when they come out. So I think it has to be a balance, and you cannot bet 100% either way. That's my view.
Just to add to that, like we've been saying since, it's a reflection of what's happening in the society. So this is not an issue that should be tagged to Big Brother. Trolling and issues around that is happening everywhere on social media. So as a country, it should be addressed generally. And even as, for good examples, myself and other housemates, for instance, the trolling, all the negative comments, are we still making our money? Yes. Are we still good examples to our society? Yes. So in a way, it also shows, regardless of your trolling, it doesn't affect these people's lives. So, pretty much.
I enjoy the aesthetics of the house, and I just wonder how. Okay, sorry. I just wonder how much it takes, how much it goes into building the house, and also flying the cruise into South Africa. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take your question. I don't know if you're aware, but Big Brother is being produced in Nigeria this year. And so, yes. Yes, we are building our own house, and a lot of the crew, most of the crew are local. In terms of so most of the construction crew obviously are local. In terms of the crew that will be working with production, over the years that we have been producing in South Africa, we have done another transfer, and so we send our crew locally to South Africa to undershadow the team there. And now I think we're prepared to produce our own show. We will have some input, from the production team internationally, but 90% of the crew that we have will be local.
And then can I just add to that, just to underscore Busola's point? We are 100% committed to delivering you a world-class show. Doesn't matter wherever it is. It happens to be in Nigeria this year. We are committed to ensure that by the time Big Brother does air and you see that house, it will do Nigerians and rest of Africa proud. And we are committed to that.
And people want to know that there will be lights throughout.
It's a show that reflects reality, right?
Remember, it's reality.
Yeah, people have suggested some NEPA tasks, so I don't think that's going to be a thing. Let's go that way.
I don't think I'm going to see a session. I don't think I'm going to see a session.
Good afternoon, everyone. There are a lot of rumors around Big Brother Naija, especially the selection. My question is, does it really matter the number of followership you have or the connection as regards the selection? Thank you.
I can answer that very easily for you. I think at the start of last season, Toby was the only person, probably had one of the highest number of followers. The most popular, probably, housemate, or one of the most popular housemates from the season this year was Cece, or is Cece, right? I don't think she had about 1,000 followers. She had about 300 or 400 and something. Same with T-Boss. I don't know that anybody knew any of these people. I hear this connection story a lot. I don't know, Toby, if you knew anybody before you got on the show.
I promise you, it is surprising. It is almost unbelievable how transparent the process is. This is the only audition process I can stand and vouch for. This is I've not been through a lot, but the ones I've seen, super transparent. I mean, give them credibility when it comes to the process. It's purely transparent. Everybody has an equal chance. Everybody.
I think it's very easy for that narrative to sort of continue being fed, because if 20,000 people audition for something and only 20 people get it, of course 19,800 and whatever will be offended.
Yeah, if I didn't get
and we'll have to make up a story, isn't it?
If I didn't get in, I would have been on that side.
So it makes sense. Let's come here.
Right. As someone that has taken time in the past couple months and years to study the business side and the content creation side of all this, right, I'd like to know, is there ever a time where you blur the lines or you weigh one aspect more than the other? For example, you run the biggest show out of Africa, for example, right? And there's no doubt Big Brother makes a lot of money, right? So is there ever a period where you consider, say, the money that comes in more than the content that actually creates, or you're looking at the content more than the money as regards, what you do?
I think, first, the really interesting thing about content, one, is not your equipment, it's not how clear the picture is. It's really how engaging it is. So, even when you're trying to make money, you have to go back to the basics. So when you say about blurring the lines, like I said, it's as long as you're clear that you're trying to make something that is really engaging, and the end point is that you want to earn from it. So that you have to keep that in front of you. That's why you're trying to do it. Okay? So, but you have to stay true to that creation part. That's really not me. That's Busola and Wangi. I just try to put it all together and try to make sure that we get paid. And that's another thing. You really have to do some kind of separation.
Yeah.
So the way we work is that the people who create content and who curate content for us really don't have the responsibilities to sell it.
Yeah.
But they have to give us something that we can sell.
Exactly. I think that's.
But because we separate it, it means they can actually give us something that is engaging. That's how you then judge what they've done.
Yeah.
And then you have a job to sell it. So also just having that little separation as an organization, the content people, they have a nice job, create the best content, make sure it looks good for TV, and then a different part of the organization has, the revenue earning responsibilities. Yeah.
And just to add to what he has said, I'll go back to the discussions we've had today about data. We rely heavily on data. I think for you to be successful and for you to create a product or an offering that your viewers want, you have to know your market. And I think that's one thing that we are very passionate about. So we're very, very heavy on research. We know our customers, we know what they want at any given time. We know what content works and what doesn't work. And we always try to keep up to our promise of providing something for everyone. So really, I always get questions about, certain channels, and they're like, who watches that channel? Well, it doesn't appeal to you, but we know that somebody is watching it, and they're paying their subscription just for that content.
Okay. Let's take one more. Just take one more.
My name is Azan Anami. I'm an event manager. Well, I think my question is, there's a person that has a question that's so direct to you, Mr. John Carter. What is your revenue? I think that's what I want to put out.
Can you speak up a little?
Okay. What I'm trying to put in next thing is that the reason for that question and that connected with what I want to ask is, as young people, we as well try as much as possible to aspire for some models or some role model. And when we keep a touch or keep a tap of them or on their successes and achievements, the question that comes to our mind is, how do you do it? Like, can we learn? Can we teach? Can we be can we be under your tutelage? Like trying to, give it out there, out the real behind the scene of the success story of the achievement of what you've gone through so far. So I think the question is, do you have a track backload of what we can, learn as part of your achievement, your step-like structure of how we carry it?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think your question is around how can people learn and transfer of knowledge. So I'll quickly talk about the Multi-Choice Talent Factory, because that's exactly why we established it. So we've got 20 very young people on a 1-year program right now. They're learning filmmaking, they're learning the business around film, and they'll graduate in September. I think they're already even shooting their first movie right now, which should be out sometime later this year. So we have that process going. But also around that, we're running master classes, which have a larger size. So we had Dolby. I mean, anyone that knows sound in entertainment knows Dolby is everything. We had the guys from Dolby here. We're running a session with, I think, over 60 sound engineers in the industry last year, I think, for a few days. So there are a lot more of those master classes coming. I think Busola mentioned earlier that we actually had a whole crew in training on Big Brother when we were running the show last year. So a lot of what you saw, the producer, that's what he is, isn't he, yes, of the show for the past seasons. The director, yes, sorry, director, yeah. The director of the show is actually a Nigerian. And I think that's why the show is really real. You know, we're not picking up a show somewhere and trying to put it in. So people have learned, and I'm sure a lot more people, you know, will have that opportunity to learn. But there's a process. They're going to call for entries. If you're a creative, you want to be part of the talent factory, please, you know, look out for the entries and just put in an entry, please.
There's a website, isn't there?
Yes. The multi-choice talentfactory.com, yeah.
I know I said it was the last question, but there's someone that wants to kill me. So I hope your question is good. Do you have a microphone still in there? Good. You might have to scream your question. Okay, quickly.
My name is Ada, and then my question is still centers on the trolling she asked about. And then, but mine is after the house, like what happens after the house. Like during the reunion show, I got some information from Alex and then Cece. When Alex mentioned she was locked in the toilet, and then Cece says when she came out of the Big Brother house, she was probably thrown acid or something. So my question is, what is Big Brother doing, or what has Big Brother done to ensure that these housemates are not in danger of any sort?
But I'm sure when you watched that reunion, you would have heard them say when they come out of the house. First thing is they meet with psychologists. So yes, they're locked up with psychologists to bring them back into reality. You know, they have that other reality in the house. So you're asking after that. Yes, they go home. We have to let them go. They go back home. And that's where it ends. That's where the show ends. Then they now have to take advantage, you know, of the opportunities coming out of the show. But if two housemates, if Toby decides to meet up with Miracle and have a drink the Friday after the show, there's really, I mean, they will go out and hang out and have a drink. There's nothing anybody, you know, can do to stop them from having a drink together.
I think pretty much getting onto the show or coming on the Big Brother show, you already know the pluses and minuses. It's not a show that is going to leave you with the whole of Nigeria loving you. By the time you come off the show, some people will like you for what you did, some people won't like you, but eventually it doesn't matter. So I think we all know what we signed up for getting on the show, and pretty much anybody that comes to the Big Brother platform knows, okay, by the time I leave, some people might not like me, but at least as people, we just encourage each other to deal with the positive. Ride with the people that like you, ride with the hope. I mean, surround yourself with positivity and people that love you, and really, the negatives don't matter. At no time will they matter.
And can I just say that this is not unique to Big Brother. Once you're famous and you're out there, you're a celebrity, that comes with the territory. So our job and the key success of Big Brother is that we have introduced people, right, to the world. We've put you up on that pedestal. You have to make it what you will. So it's not necessarily responsibility of Big Brother organizers to then handhold you throughout the entire life. It happens. You're out there, make it your life, but we've established you on a pathway for you to achieve the best that you can ever be yourself. I think that's the important message here.
Because where does it end if you continue trying to?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for all your questions. Thank you very much, panelists.
Thank you very much, Multi-Choice Nigeria. It's going to have good.